Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with a Pittsburgh Steelers reaction and recap to their 34-17 loss to the Baltimore Ravens on Saturday evening. Pittsburgh dropping to 10-5 on the season. AFC North is now wide open. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Would really appreciate that. So Pittsburgh in a game where the deck was already stacked against them. You guys know the deal. Short week, road team. Ravens had the bye 2 weeks ago. They had a pretty easy victory the week prior against the Giants. Pittsburgh, tough game in week number 15 against the Eagles. The injuries Pittsburgh had, yada yada, made this one an uphill battle to begin with. And so the things you couldn't do, obviously, was be poor in situational football, not good enough on third down, those weighty type of moments, and you could not lose the turnover battle. And Pittsburgh essentially lost all of those categories. Most clearly, and the biggest reason for the loss of that kind of subset section are the takeaways, are the issues in terms of possessing the football and the swings that they created. You had Russell Wilson, who I thought made some good plays in this one. I think he was trying to be the hero in this game, knowing the odds that were against Pittsburgh and what the meaning of this victory would be had it been achieved. You win the AFC North, you sweep Baltimore, you're in a really good position. You're trying to get through this tough week with the Christmas game on the other side, and just probably trying to do a little too much. And the fumble, the scramble, it's a great play initially. Just dive, slide. I get he's trying to make a big play. The cutback lane might look like it's there. You're not 24 anymore, Rush. You're 36. You're not going to make those guys miss maybe like you did way back when. And that fumble there, obviously, very costly. Becomes a 14-point swing. Ravens go on this 96-yard touchdown drive the other way. And Pittsburgh tied the game later, but never regained the lead. Never had the lead once in this game, but had a chance, obviously, to take the lead. Had they even gotten 3 and certainly 7 on that scramble, had Russ held onto the football. The interception, Pittsburgh running that boot. They run that boot a million times. The Ravens have defended it exceptionally well in both games this year, Week 11 and on Saturday. And just a ball you can't throw. Pruitt's not covered, even if it's caught. Or Pruitt is covered, I should say. He's blanketed. If it's caught, it's only a couple-yard gain. Russ inaccurate, that one inside, and Humphrey snags it, and it's race to the sideline, and that comes off the heels of the Minkah Fitzpatrick interception, his first pick in 2 years, and that really iced the game right then and there. And so I don't want to put this all on Russ. It certainly is not all on Russ, but you have those 2 back-breaking plays that will stick out when we think about this game, come season's end. I didn't think Arthur Smith had a terrible game plan in this one. I thought the offense did some nice things. I thought the run game was having some measures of success. You saw more Jalen Ward in this game. I don't know if that was all determined based off of who was running well. Warren does play in more passing down situations, so he got some 2-minute drill action. But he did open up to start the second half, and so he was kind of feeling it in this one. I thought the division of labor between those two guys was solid. Didn't see as much Cordero Patterson running the football, which I'm okay with, but to his credit, made a fantastic play in the end zone on that wheel route to make that catch over Malik Harrison. Crazy, crazy play there, big time for sure. Just, I thought there was good offensive hand in the pile effort in terms of Pruitt scoring a touchdown, Patterson scoring a touchdown, Skoranek making some plays. Give it up for Calvin Austin. He's playing the best football of his NFL career over the last couple of weeks, making some difficult contested catches. I really like him down the seam on those crosses, but that sideline catch for 44 yards was fantastic. A really different side of Calvin Austin I had not seen before in terms of making those tough grabs and catch radius, and so that's been impressive. He stepped up big time without George Pickens. Hopefully, though, Pittsburgh, of course, can get Pickens back for the Christmas Day game. I really don't know which way it's going to go. There's been some reporting suggesting it could happen. Some has been less optimistic. It's obviously a short turnaround. We'll just have to wait and see. Defensively, Pittsburgh just really never controlled this game. Baltimore took it to him. The run game was working from essentially Derrick Henry's first carry until one of his last. He runs for $162. It's one of the highest marks in the Tomlin era. I think it's the 5th most yards against a Steelers defense since Mike Tomlin became the head coach in 2007. It's the most by a Ravens player ever against the Steelers, and Pittsburgh really had no answer. They tried different things. They tried 3 inside linebacker groupings. They tried 4 down linemen. injuries played a factor, but your front was pretty healthy. Now, granted, Deshaun Elliott's not available in this game, and that's been such a huge loss, Deshaun Elliott. It's been almost as consequential as losing George Pickens offensively, but Minka did play in the box, and Minka's a guy that you trust to tackle, so I don't want to say it's primarily because of the injuries. Ogunjobi was out, but that's not going to determine if Henry runs for $162 or runs for 50. And Pittsburgh tried to gap shoot and be aggressive, knowing they had to get Henry in the backfield before he was getting going. But they didn't always do that. They weren't always gap sound. They missed tackles, and Henry just had a field day. I thought there was maybe a little too much focus on Lamar Jackson in this game. I thought Pittsburgh in that first matchup put more attention on Derrick Henry and minimized his impact, even if that came at the expense of Lamar rushing a little bit. Lamar finished with 9 carries, 22 yards, a couple of kneel downs in there, so that skews the numbers just a little bit. But yeah, I think with the game plan defensively, I thought maybe that was a little bit off. But again, I'm not going to blame that as the sole reason of why Henry's had such a big day. Pittsburgh usually does a good job of minimizing stars and not letting those guys really take over games. Even the Eagles game, where you minimize Barkley, and yes, Brown and Smith made plays, but Barkley was the number one guy to slow down. Pittsburgh really did not slow down any of the stars for Baltimore in this game, whether that was Zay Flowers, who had 5 for 100, Derrick Henry ran for $162, and Lamar had 3 passing touchdowns. Communication issues abound for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the Mark Andrews touchdown. I think something might happen on the likely touchdown, the first score of the game. I don't know if that was on Minka. My first thought, and still my current feeling, is on Patrick Queen just being out leveraged. It was a good scheme by Baltimore, but letting them have some of those easy completions at Pittsburgh's been really tough to find some of those easy catches. The Pruitt touchdown was one on their end for the score. The Patterson one was obviously a lot more difficult, but you're just seeing more fluidity with the Ravens offense. And I just think, to go back to the run game success really opened up play action that allowed some of those 15-yard dig routes the Ravens hit, and just some of their play action shots, whether it was even screen game where Henry got involved, had 2 catches for 27 yards, including one for a good gain on the screen, and it really stressed Pittsburgh's defense. If they can't stop the run, that allows offenses to really get into a rhythm, stay on schedule, and really build off of that run game, and Pittsburgh's in trouble when that happens. Obviously, the secondary very beat up in this one. 3 of the 4 starters not playing or left mid-game. Porter with a knee calf injury. That who knows what's going to happen there with that Chiefs game 4 days away. And then no Elliott and no Dante Jackson in this one, pressing Corey Trice Jr. into action, his first game since week number 3. And certainly Pittsburgh, or Baltimore, I should say, was going after him in some respects on third down. It was a catch by Mark Andrews, even on the touchdown to Bateman. It's a smash concept. Trice is underneath. He's not in the wrong position, but can you get some more depth there and kind of try to midpoint and not be as committed to the flat and drive on that if the ball goes there, to kind of squeeze that 7 route behind you to help out your safety. It's a tough spot. Great ball by Lamar Jackson, but those are the things I think about when I think about the Ravens going after a young guy like Corey Trice. And then, of course, Pittsburgh just not getting the ball to bounce their way in some instances. You had a forced fumble early from Alex Highsmith that Baltimore recovered. You had the punt return that was punched out. I think Pierre, I'm not even sure who punched that ball out, and Medikevich just right there, and it kind of bounced away, and Baltimore recovered and actually got additional yardage off of that. And so, those are the things that really help determine the games. It's not the sole reason, obviously, but Pittsburgh's been able to have some fortunate bounces and recover some of those this year, and not the case in this one. And the bounces went the other way in terms of the Russ fumble, for example. Even the final muff punt Baltimore had, even though the game was over, it was not going to change the outcome and the winner and loser. Baltimore somehow recovered that one as well. Kind of just sums up where the day went. So Pittsburgh, they got to win the turnover battle. It's why they've had success against Baltimore, because they've stolen possessions, they've shortened games, they've made splash plays. They haven't had to defend the Ravens, truly and conventionally in terms of driving up and down the field and getting stops and forcing punts, all that kind of stuff. No, it's been takeaways. And Pittsburgh losing the turnover battle 2-1 in this one. Also, the red zone defense. Baltimore was 3 of 5. I don't know if the kneel downs happened. Let me double check that. No, those were obviously in Baltimore territory there. But I think Baltimore began the game like 3 of 3 in the red zone. And so Pittsburgh's red zone defense has really struggled. We've written about that a little bit earlier this year, that the heat's not been on the red zone defense because the red zone offense has struggled so much, and that's gotten all the attention, all the airtime. But the red zone defense has really been poor since about midseason, and that continues. And I know you're facing tougher competition, but you got to get some situational stops, and Pittsburgh has struggled to do so. So that'll wrap things up. Tough loss. Really got to get healthy. That feels like such a big component. Even if you just get Elliott and Pickens back, then you feel like you're back into a more status quo place where you can kind of do the things that you've been having success with and stopping the run and letting Minkah play free safety. Kudos to Minkah, by the way, his first interception. I kind of mentioned that, but I just want to say that again. And then with Pickens to really open up the passing game, force teams to play more too high, and just structurally, you're in a better place. That's a good word for it. Structurally, you're in a better place if Elliott comes back and if Pickens come back. The rest, they're important, they're useful, obviously, but they're not going to change the structure of how your team operates. Pickens and Elliott, frankly, do. So quick turnaround to the Christmas Day game, only 4 days to prepare for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Not easy to do, to prepare with 10 days advance or 7 days advance or any days advance, but 4 certainly going to stress things more. Pittsburgh, at least at home. We'll see what happens. Obviously, to win the division, it's still in Pittsburgh's destiny. They win out, they win the division. If not, then there's kind of some little bit of trickiness there, but it's still in Pittsburgh's hands. It's a simple path, but certainly not an easy path to clinch the AFC North. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.